In addition to these global indicators, regional organizations have also taken the initiative to provide and propose regional indicators that are relevant to their needs in 3 more policy areas: in TVET and higher education, in skills for work, and also on the learning environment. But what are the regional benchmarks? We looked at the current level and the past rate of progress of the 7 indicators in the member states of selected regional organizations. We then proposed a minimum level that all countries in that region should achieve by 2025 and 2030. In a region where countries are similar, such a common target is relevant for most of them. In a region where countries are very different from each other, such a common minimum target is only relevant for those countries that are furthest behind. This process, however, also is important because it fosters that sense of shared responsibility that we need. Now you may ask, why have we introduced this concept of regional benchmarks when the framework for action only called for national benchmarks? There were 3 good reasons for doing that. The first is that regional organizations have a perhaps sometimes forgotten but unique role to facilitate peer dialogue in education and encourage their member states to take part in a national benchmark setting process. The second reason is that many regional organizations have education monitoring frameworks, and we're also looking for ways to set benchmarks. So we joined efforts. And the third reason is that it was an important opportunity to align global, regional, and national education monitoring frameworks for coherence. Often, these frameworks have not related very well to each other. 3 representatives of regional organizations that embrace this process will share their experiences after this presentation. And what about national benchmarks? As you heard, the framework for action described them as the contribution that each country is committing to make for the achievement of SDG 4. Our SDG 4 targets are aspirational, and it is often said that it is not fair for every country to achieve the same result when they start from such distant starting points. Education is not unique in doing that. You're all familiar with the climate change related national determined contributions that your countries have made following the Paris Agreement. We believe that our children also deserve the same attention from countries. Some may question whether this is the right moment to set benchmarks when our education systems are so much affected by the COVID pandemic. But remember that the benchmarks are going to be set for 2025 and 2030. We expect that our education systems will have recovered and we will have built them back better by then. We can always adjust the benchmark values in the worst case scenario. All countries are therefore requested to submit through their national SDG 4 focal points by September 30th, their 2025 and 2030 national benchmark values for the 7 SDG 4 benchmark indicators to fulfill the neglected commitment we made in the framework for action in 2015. These will be compiled through October to be presented at the UNESCO General Conference in November. How are these benchmark values to be set? Well, it should be very straightforward. If your country has targets for these 7 benchmark indicators for 2025 and 2030 in your national strategy or in your sector plan, then all you are expected to do is submit these targets. If your country does not yet have targets, the Technical Cooperation Group for SDG 4 indicators has put at your disposal, at every country's disposal, dashboards to support your decisions. Benchmark values have been proposed based on your country's latest data and also on a slightly faster than average rate of progress for the future, indicating that it will no longer be business as usual. You can consult these indicative proposed values as a basis for your decision at the TCG website, which you can have a look here and also at this link.